Most of us think of cemeteries as peaceful places of quiet reflection. But for Sylvia Gropp of the Alberni Valley Museum, cemeteries are chock full of history and stories that she loves to share.
Whoever is the veteran is on. Tonight we're hosting a guided cemetery walking tour of the Greenwood Cemetery. So we're going to go through and explore a little bit of the history, and we're going to look at some symbology and just some general lore of cemeteries and graveyards. It's really neat to be able to see what was really important to the town, kind of how it's laid out, how far away it is. We're going to look at some of the early pioneers of the city. We're also going to hear about some tragedies that happened in the past as well, and look at some different types of Chinese and Japanese burials. The earliest stone in here is 1896. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the earliest burial. This was kind of used as a cemetery as early back as 1892. And there were also some human remains that were buried elsewhere that were removed and buried in this cemetery. So as for stones, 1896, but burials predate that. We actually have our first BC old age pensioner is buried in the cemetery. He was issued check number 1 for old age. It's kind of interesting that that was memorialized on their headstone. On the sad note, we do have a memorial for the Faber girls that drowned at Sprott Lake. That cemetery is still there, yet there's a memorial here for the girls. Of course, there was the forced relocation of Japanese during World War II, and a lot of the graves that were already here fell into disrepair because nobody looked after them. So as part of kind of an apology act, there are some monuments in the cemetery, just kind of acknowledging those people, even though we couldn't really pinpoint where their graves are at. I find cemeteries are absolutely fascinating, and a lot of people are scared to come to them, but I think if you came on a tour and walked through, I think you would have a new kind of appreciation for cemeteries and what they can actually tell you about history.
The next guided cemetery tour will be held on Saturday, October the 5th from 10 to 11:30 at Greenwood Cemetery. You can register online at playinpa.ca.